A dark night, a full moon and a blood-red sky. You can only hear a three-eyed crow cawing. There's a crunch. Someone stepped on a branch. It's an exhausted, dark-haired guy running through the forest. He is fully dressed in black clothes. The guy's whole face is scratched. His whole body is in deep wounds. He's holding what's left of his left arm with his right hand. It looks like he lost it to the elbow. "We couldn't stop him! Heck, he's so strong! Every person was destroyed!" the hero thought. It seems that he's the only one left alive after a fight with someone dangerous. Suddenly, the main character hears a sharp noise. He turns around and orders the enemy to show himself, because the hero already knows that someone is here. But in response, there's nothing but dead silence. Only bare trees around the hero and no one else. But something is still amiss. The hero felt someone's presence. A cold sweat passed through his body from fear. A terrible muzzle appeared right behind the hero. The creature bared its sharp teeth. There were screams. Apparently, the monster still got to the poor guy. The creature grabs the main character and tears him to pieces. The last thoughts of the main character before death: "So, this is my end." Heavy sighs are heard. The location moves. The hero wakes up in the office. He was sleeping right behind his workplace in the middle of a pile of work folders and reports. There's no limit to the shock of such a terrible dream. The main character woke up in a cold sweat. Someone approaches the main character from behind and puts his hand on his shoulder, asking if everything is okay with our hero. But the hero has not yet realized that the dream has passed, and now he's in reality. He abruptly gets up from his chair and is ready to rebuff the offender who came up from behind. But as it turns out, instead of a real weapon, the guy is armed with a computer mouse. How intimidating. It wasn't a monster who approached the main character from behind, but just his colleague. And by the way, the main character's name is Qin Yu. Qin's colleague approached the hero to query him about his condition, because the main character looked unhealthy. But instead of an answer, the colleague got a computer mouse to the face. Colleagues don't understand what the main character is doing. He looks down at what he has in his hand, and it really turns out to be just an ordinary computer mouse. Qin asks his colleague what time is it, to which he is told that it's 10, or rather 10:30, and it's still too early for lunch. Annoyed, Qin grabs his colleague by the shirt and repeats his question. "I asked what year it is now." A nearby colleague calmly replies that it's 2019. She asks what's wrong with the main character today. Did he forget to take his medicine? The rest of Takeo's colleagues laugh at the main character. Apparently, he read the novels about reincarnation. The bald man tells the hero something amazing, namely, the great Qin dynasty has perished. The words of a nasty colleague cause the main character to have a flashback. It's getting dark outside. The main character is looking through a window at the beautiful evening sky. The boss comes up to Qin from behind. He's angry that the main character is slacking off again. The boss chastises Qin and asks if he really wants his salary cut. Then the boss orders the guy to hurry up immediately and get back to work. Qin throws a piercing gaze at the boss to the point of trembling. Qin grabs the boss by the arm and throws him headfirst onto the floor. The main character wonders if 2019 was the year when the apocalypse began. The boss hits his head hard and whines how much it hurts. The main character is struck by thoughts like lightning, because today is 2019. The crimson sky, is it really the 1st of April? One of the colleagues is concerned about Qin's behavior. If he's just trying to joke, then this is too much. The colleagues are shocked. They look at Qin in horror. But Qin doesn't pay attention and only says that they all better hurry up if they want to see their families for the last time, because the apocalypse has begun. According to the records, the apocalypse began on the 1st of April 2019. A restless crimson sky and blood-red clouds hung over the city. The apocalypse came in the form of a destructive and bloody rain that suddenly covered China on that fateful day. Drops of blood poured down on people instead of the usual rain of pure water. No one expected this, that this rain would bring the most terrible infection humanity has ever seen. Mountains of unconscious people, everyone who got wet under the bloody rain faint, and then they rise again, but no longer people. They become zombies or monsters wandering aimlessly around the city, hunting people and turning the world into a real hell. The main character leaves the office and examines the sky. A businessman passes by who's in a hurry somewhere. The man talks on the phone. He informs the president that he's going to meet him soon. The main character looks at this man. So, is this a device for communication of this era? A mobile phone? Having made such conclusions, the hero finds the same mobile means of communication on him. Qin turns on his phone and goes to Contacts, where he finds a contact with the name Xiao Yu. The hero remembers his younger sister with long hair and a cute face named Xiao Yu, who still goes to school. Qin grabs his head and doesn't believe in all this nonsense. The main character doesn't understand whether it's really him. It's so confusing to him. Qin's younger sister is walking around the school, holding textbooks in her hands. Suddenly, her phone rings. Xiao answers the phone. It turns out to be her older brother. She asks what business her brother is calling her about. Qin asks his sister to listen to him. She needs to come home immediately. Xiao is concerned about her brother's unusual request, because she's at school now and it's too early to go home. Her brother's tone was so threatening that Xiao almost cried and thought she did something wrong. That's why Qin told her to come home faster. But the brother calms his sister and says that it's not that at all. There's just a very important matter and there's no time to explain, but she needs to return home immediately. Xiao says that as soon as her classes are over, she will go straight home. We'll be back around noon. Qin agrees and once again stresses the importance of the case. His sister says, and they hang up. The sister is concerned about her brother's anxiety. While Xiao was thinking about Qin, a blonde, not good-looking friend named Xiao Ting crept up behind her. Xiao Yu asks her friend what happened, to which Xiao Ting replies that it was raining in the morning in the area where the girl lives. She got soaked and seems like have caught a cold. Xiao Yu puts her hand on her friend's forehead and discovers that she really has a fever and decides to take her friend to the infirmary. The sky turns a bright crimson color. Qin says that the bloody rain will begin soon. We need to prepare everything as soon as possible. But first there's a matter of food. The main character goes to the store for provisions. In the store, Qin takes a lot of food and water, because later it will be very dangerous to get out on the street. After buying food, the hero goes looking for weapons and finds some iron fittings. Qin takes a strong stick. It should be enough to crush the scoops of zombies and monsters. The main character recalls that back then, many humans, including him, evolved mutant strength. But when they encountered mutated zombies, they were helpless. It was painful to see their relatives and comrades being killed one by one until you yourself die at the hands of a monster. However, the main character was given another chance by heaven and allowed to reincarnate 100 years ago, right before the apocalypse. This time, before the enemies have time to mutate, the hero must become stronger. This time, he's gonna use his power to protect his relatives and comrades. People in the city start noticing red clouds. They don't understand what's happening. The rain begins. It drips on people and burns them. The main character is watching the sky. Has the time really come? The townspeople notice the main character. He looks strange. Why does he need a metal pipe? People conclude that Qin is a sociophobe and it's better to avoid him. A drop of bloody rain falls on the hero's hand and burns through Qin's glove. Seems like the plans would have to be changed, because it started raining earlier than the hero anticipated. The main character is riding a taxi. The driver is alarmed by the behavior of the passenger. He is a little bit awkward, and to clear the air, he strikes a conversation about the red rain. It's such an interesting phenomenon. The hero sits in the back seat of the car with his metal pipe and continues to observe the situation on the street, then tells the taxi driver he should return home as soon as he finishes this ride. Otherwise, the man may get stuck in traffic and never return home. The main character picks up the phone and calls his sister. He asks if she's at school, because he's already on his way to pick her up and will be there soon. But Xiao Yu is now sitting in the infirmary next to a sick friend who briefly lost consciousness. Xiao informs her brother that she is still in the infirmary looking after her friend. Qin Yu gets very worried. He asks his sister if her friend has a fever and if she is conscious now. The sister confirms that Xiao Ting really has a fever, but the friend seems to have woken up now. Xiao Yu was about to hang up, but suddenly her brother shouted at her to leave her sick friend immediately. But the sister had already hung up. The alarmed protagonist grabs the taxi driver by the shoulder and menacingly asks the man if he can go faster. Okay, just don't hit me. The frightened man cries and steps on the gas. At school, Xiao Ting gets worse. Her face shrinks from pain. A teacher comes into the room. Xiao Yu informs her that Xiao Ting has already woken up. The teacher is surprised that the girl woke up so quickly. The ambulance hasn't even arrived yet. The teacher and Xiao Yu sharply pay attention to something. Xiao Ting is sitting on the bed like a soulless doll. Her green eyes have changed color to purple, just like the ominous sky outside the window. The teacher approaches Xiao Tong and tells her that it is still early to get up, and it would be better if the student went back to bed. Suddenly, the girl's pupils turn violent. She sharply bites the teacher until her fingers bleed. The frightened woman abruptly withdraws her hand. The teacher is shocked. How could the student bite her? Xiao Yu approaches Xiao Ting and asks what got into her. The mad girl turns to Xiao Yu and shows a bloody grin. The girl's skin, covered in minor wrinkles, makes her face even scarier, and the bloody pupils narrowed from madness as if the girl had contracted rabies. Xiao Yu is scared and can't believe her eyes. How could her cute girlfriend turn into a monster? The teacher cannot move from shock. She is sitting on the floor, opposite to the distraught student, and is holding her injured hand. Xiao Ting, with a crazy face, lunges at the teacher, trying to eat her. Silence. A dark room. Xiao Yu stands in front of the teacher's corpse, next to which sits a monster that used to be her friend. Xiao Yu shouts. The deranged friend attacked Xiao Yu, but the salvation came out of nowhere. The monster got hit right in the face with a metal pipe and flew to another corner of the room. The savior was Xiao Yu's older brother. "Eat this!" the main character shouted and pointed the sharp end of the pipe at the zombie girl. Xiao only had time to say, "Brother!" when suddenly there was a pop. Blood splattered. Xiao covered her face with her hand, and when she took her hand away, she saw a murderer in her terrible brother. But Qin hurried to explain himself to the bewildered and frightened sister. He carefully began to wipe his weapon from the grass blood of zombies, and told his sister that her friend had become a zombie, and she was no longer the one Xiao Yu knew so well. The brother tells his sister about his intentions to get out of here as soon as possible. Otherwise, this place will be invaded by zombies and monsters. Brother and sister are coming out of school. A heavy bloody rain is falling on the street. The main characters are standing on the school threshold, which shelters them from the rain. Xiao stretches out her hand forward to feel the raindrops with her palm, but her brother shouts to not let the drops get on her skin and abruptly pulls Xiao's hand away. The girl doesn't understand what happened to her brother because it's just ordinary rain. Confused, the guy asks his sister if the rain doesn't burn her, to which she replies that it doesn't. Is it really acid rain since it should burn her? Strange, Qin thought. Usually even people who have some kind of immunity to this rain still feel its burning effect. The hero calms Xiao down and tells her not to worry about it. In any case, the girl should put on a raincoat, because she should not get wet under this rain. Brother and sister put on raincoats and go through the city populated by monsters and zombies. Now the main characters have only one goal. It's to get around this disaster. The bloody rain, the crimson sky, and the horsemen of the apocalypse in the face of monsters and zombies devouring ordinary people and destroying civilization. Qin asks his sister if she's ready to walk through the crowd of angry zombies and monsters. Xiao confidently agrees. The main character readies his weapon. Xiao shouts, "Come on!" Qin tells his sister to be quiet and not scream. "Oops," the little sister replies and covers her mouth. The main characters in raincoats, armed with only a metal pipe, went on a difficult mission. The bloody rain that turns people into monsters continues. Chaos and panic are taking over the streets. A woman with a child in her arms and tears in her eyes does not understand why her child suddenly started biting her hand. At the same time, zombies knocked a man to the ground and began eating him alive. Xiao stops to look at all this horror. She asks her brother what is happening here, to which she hastily replies that she can't stop and they need to get home as soon as possible. Suddenly, Xiao heard a human scream from some building, someone calling for help. A fat man runs out of the building, chased by several zombies. He goes to the main characters and asks them to wait for him. Qin draws attention to the hand of a running man that has a bloody stain. Qin gets into a fighting pose and tells the man that he has already been bitten by those zombies, and they will not stop following the heroes while they smell the blood coming out of the man's wound, and therefore the stranger should stop following them. The man goes on a tantrum and starts screaming that he hasn't been bitten at all, and that he can't become the same as these wandering dead. The main character is not thrilled by the behavior of the stranger, because his ranting will attract all the zombies in the neighborhood. In desperation, the fat man grabs Qin's younger sister. She falls off her feet in shock. "What the hell are you doing?" Xiao screamed with indignation. The crying fat man attracted even more attention to himself. In his opinion, it was not him who should have been bitten, but the main characters. But since the man must die, then he no longer cares about anything, and the heroes should go to the afterlife with him. Qin calls the fat, beastly stranger a bastard. In a rage, Qin shouts to the man that if he wants to die so much, then he'll grant this wish. After these words, the main character hits the annoying stranger with all his might. The man flies back right into the clutches of crazy zombies, who immediately pounce on him. The main characters run away and hear cries for help from the man behind. Xiao, in order not to hear the screams of a dying human, covers her ears and tells the brother that they just killed a living person. The brother tells Xiao that they did everything right, because the man had already been bitten. The stranger was waiting for imminent death and wanted to drag them with him, so they simply had no choice, because if the heroes had acted differently, they would have kept the man's company in the next world. The heroes return home, where they observe broken windows and empty apartments. Qin and Xiao enter their home, and the brother concludes that their house also experienced some chaos. Qin tells his sister to follow him, afraid that there may be zombies in the building. Xiao asks her brother to hurry up inside because she's very scared here. "Shh," says the main character as a sign of silence. Footsteps are heard. Someone approaches from the stairwell. Qin gets ready to fight. A zombie abruptly jumps out of the door. Xiao Yu hides behind her brother and Qin pulls out his weapon. The zombie attacks Qin. The main character tries to repel the enemy with the help of a metal pipe. The zombie pushes the hero against the wall, while he tries his best not to let the dead man bite him. Qin concludes that he is no longer as strong as he was before rebirth, and therefore he cannot face zombies head-on. But suddenly, Xiao Yu saves our hero by throwing a brick at the head of a bloodthirsty zombie. The zombie releases Qin, and everyone is frozen in anticipation. What's gonna happen next? The enemy abruptly turns to Xiao Yu and walks straight at the girl. The Walking Dead pounces on poor Xiao, but Qin manages to knock the zombie to the floor just in the nick of time by hitting it in the stomach. He then finishes it off safely. Qin approaches Xiao, who's sitting on the floor, and asks his sister if she's alright, because the main characters need to return home soon. Xiao begins to cry, because they had just killed their neighbor, Uncle Wang. "Brother, it's like you knew the apocalypse was coming," Xiao says. Qin opens the door to a room with red symbols, a parquet floor, and one window. The brother takes off his hood, grabbing Xiao Yu's shoulders. "Listen carefully to what I'm about to tell you. It's going to get more dangerous every day, so I'll protect you. But you have to understand how grave the current situation is and be obedient," Qin exclaimed. Xiao Yu listened attentively to her brother and agreed with everything he said. "During the apocalypse, everyone will sacrifice others for their own sake. The human heart will now be more sinister than ever before, so don't trust people easily. Most zombies behave as if they're on stimulants, have explosive strength, not to mention the evolved zombies and mutated monsters, which surpassed humanity in numbers. Normal people can only dream of facing them in an open battle. As for how I know this, I'll explain it to you in the future. Now my main goal is to become stronger and evolve through training and hunting, gaining strength and power similar to those zombies and mutated monsters," Qin said. After the story, he takes a deep breath. Since it's the apocalypse, time to enjoy one last warm bath. The sound of the shower, the water that pours on Qin. His thoughts are about how in a few days the electricity will be cut off. Then he hears the bathroom door open. It's his sister. "Brother, you forgot soap and shampoo," Xiao Yu said. Don't barge in like that. And why don't you shower first?" Qin asked. "Brother, it's not the first time. Why are you suddenly so shy?" After this short, awkward dialogue, Xiao Yu rubbed her brother's back with a washcloth. Later, Xiao Yu made them something to eat. She put everything neatly on the plates and put them on the table. "Brother, why don't we go to the army and ask them for help? In this situation, only they can protect us," Xiao Yu said. Qin was chewing on food. No, they don't know how to deal with the monsters. They can guarantee only a couple years of safety. Don't you know? Can't you tell them about it? Xiao Yu asked. Do you think the military will listen to a civilian? Even if we go there, we won't be able to meet the person in charge. Xiao Yu sighed sadly and hopelessly. Xiao Yu, you must understand that there's no point in joining a group of weaklings. Only when you are strong, you have a chance to face danger. Beside the threats of zombies and mutated monsters, there's also humans, Qin said with a serious face. Xiao Yu knocks on her brother's door. Brother, what are you doing? Qin was wearing a mask and pouring something into beakers. Xiao Yu, you should get out. I'm making explosives, so it's very dangerous here. Xiao Yu looks at her brother with a surprised face. But how do you know how to do it? It's pretty simple. You can even Google it. Okay, close the door or we may end up homeless, Qin said, looking at the colorful liquid in the flask. It's nighttime. The moon is shining. Qin is lying in his bed, thinking. How many years has it been since I slept peacefully on a comfortable bed? Then his sister enters with a pillow in her hands. Brother, I'm scared. Can I sleep next to you? The sister lays next to her brother and falls asleep. Qin looks at the ceiling, still overtaken by his thoughts. I hope this is not a dream. Xiao Yu wakes up and sees her brother in the doorway. What are you doing, brother? I'm going to check if there's anyone in the apartments. If the zombies are out there somewhere, then I'll just get rid of them. Huh? Brother, didn't you say that it was insane for a normal person to go against the zombies? Qin replied through his teeth. Your brother is not a normal person. Don't worry, I was a level 2A gunslinger in the past. Xiao Yu didn't understand anything, but asked her brother to be careful. Qin goes out into the corridor holding his staff and sighs. Well, let's go. He approaches the first door, knocks and asks if there's someone there. Qin hears a knock from behind the door, so he runs up the stairs directly opposite the door, ready to strike. As I expected, come out and be the first one I'll take down today.